Hi, my name is Christian Shepherd, and I am making my first YouTube video, and this channel is hopefully going to be structured around strength and conditioning related content. And my first video for today is how to structure a dunk session. So I was going to split this up into two videos, but I wanted to just make one video that included everything, and so it's going to probably be a little bit longer, but stick through it. There's going to be a lot of good information that hopefully helps you. So I've got four main topics. I got like lifestyle, preparation, execution, and then what to do after. And so starting here with lifestyle, we have the general things for lifestyle is diet and sleep. So you're gonna wanna be sleeping at least 8 hours a day so that you're fully rested for your dunk sessions, because you don't wanna go in feeling sleepy or tired, as you will obviously not optimally perform. And then also for diet, you're going to want to be fully fed the night before a dunk session, and maybe including some carbs that night would be a good idea, because that'll help give you a little extra energy the next day, meaning the dunk session day. And then also utilizing caffeine can be a great thing. So having either coffee or green tea or anything like that prior to the dunk session will give you a little energy boost. And then the morning of, you're going to want to eat around an hour or 2 hours before you jump, depending on what part of the day it is. And having a lighter meal would be ideal, because you don't want to go into the dunk session feeling sluggish or weighed down by heavy meals. So something light. This is where I highly recommend things like fruit and other light snacks would be great, like trail mix or something. And then also energy levels. It's good to consider, like, when in the day do you think you have the most energy? And for some people that might be 8 a.m. and for others it might be 3 p.m. or whatever it is for you. But try to structure your dunk session to when you have the most energy. And if not possible, then just try to structure it as close as you can to that time. So my other bullet point is CNS, so that stands for Central Nervous System. And so, for example, this becomes relevant for, let's say you had an intense workout Friday, and then you take Saturday off, and then you want to dunk or jump Sunday, and you feel fully rested. Your muscles may have recovered from that training session Friday, but your CNS or central nervous system may have not recovered. So I suggest resting a full 48 hours before you go into a dunk session. And so even though you physically may feel ready, you might need a little bit more time than you think. And then last bullet I have here is attire. So you want to be wearing lightweight clothes. I know this sounds ridiculous, but it can make a huge difference if you're wearing a big baggy hoodie, a hat and all these extra, and you got things in your pockets. You want to be as light as possible. And so lightweight shorts, and also I really like to wear leggings or compressions, same thing. That is not scientifically proven to help your vertical jump, but I can definitely feel a difference, not only jumping higher, but also jumping longer. I can have longer dunk sessions because it allows me to stay warmer longer. Okay, so my next main topic is preparation. So the first thing I have is a dynamic warm-up. A lot of people, when they do a dunk session, they just kind of move around and then they just start jumping. And that is, you want to have as good as warm-up as possible, to the point where you raise your core body temperature, but your muscles aren't fatigued, but they're engaged and ready. And so I will be showing you clips from my dunk session, just some examples. There's a million different things that you can do for a warm-up, but having it being related to your dunking is ideal, as that will transfer the most, obviously. And every person's a little different, and you might need a little bit more focus in a different area than somebody else. So try different stretches, try different warm-up exercises, but generally you want to be very low intensity. If you have knee pain, you might need a longer warm-up than somebody else. And if your goal is to windmill, I would highly recommend doing arm circles, stretching out your lats, doing other things for shoulder health, and that sort of idea. So know what your plans are, or your goals, I mean, and adjust your warm-up accordingly. So the next thing I have, maybe this could be a part of your warm-up, is mechanics practice. So you're going to want to practice the jumps that you're about to perform and just do them at the lowest intensity possible, but you're just practicing the timing of the arm swing and getting the body all coordinated and used to moving in that manner. Another thing that you want to consider is ball handling. So if you are just trying to be as good as dunker as you can, or you're trying to get your head as high as possible, and all you do is lob dunks, like you throw it up to yourself and then go get it, this is not as important. Maybe you could practice those instead of ball handling. But if you want to be an in-game dunker, then having some ball handling skills is very useful. If you've already worked on your ball handling a lot, then you're going to need minimum amounts, but it's still very good to wake those skills up. But I always do a little bit, I especially like some pounding. I'll probably show a clip of that. But having some control over the ball before you start jumping is great, because otherwise you might go into some jumps losing the ball, and that's a wasted jump that you weren't able to do anything with. And so maximizing each jump by making sure that you have control of the ball is very important. It might take anyone from 30 seconds if you have a huge basketball background, but if you don't really, then maybe even 20 minutes, depending on how much that area is lacking. The next bullet point I have is post-activation potentiation. So it's a long term, but basically that just means priming your central nervous system so that it can optimally perform. So, for example, the commonly known way that this is used is that if you do a heavy back squat and then you go into a vertical jump, your vertical jump will increase. Now, obviously, if you do this 10 seconds after, you'll be fatigued and you won't be able to jump as high. But if you rest enough time, like 3 minutes or so, then you will increase your vertical jump, because now you've just tried to leave the ground as hard as you could in that squat, and now when you do your jump, now you got no weight on you, you feel a lot lighter, but you're pushing just as hard, and you go a little bit higher. And so we can utilize this in probably the end of our warm-up. And the favorite way that I like to do it is with med ball tosses. I'll have a few examples probably shown here, but that's my favorite way to do it, because it doesn't really fatigue the lower body, but it still wakes up that central nervous system, and it works on your arm swing. And so check that out and play with it. And there's a lot of different things you can do, but yeah, you want to be as primed as possible. Okay, so our next topic is execution. So now you're all warmed up, you're ready for your dunk session, and your handles are feeling good, your mechanics are feeling good, and you're all ready. So the first thing is define goals, and having a broad goal of I want to be better at dunking is not specific enough. You want to know if you want dribble dunks. Do you want standing jumps? Do you want running jumps? Are you trying to be an in-game dunker? Are you just trying to be like a dunker that just can be on Instagram and be good in the warm-ups? What kind of dunker do you want to be? Do you want to be better off the 1 foot? Do you want to be better off the 2 feet? Do you want to be able to spin into a dunk, or do trick dunks and flashy dunks? What exactly do you want to do? Me specifically, I really want to be good at the standing vertical, and then I've also started to get interested into the windmill. But I really want to be good at the standing vertical. I find a lot of fun in that. But obviously, I like to play around and do a little bit of everything. But knowing what you want to be really good at, maybe you can direct more attention to that specific type of dunk. And through practice and reps, you'll get better at that dunk. And so if you're practicing dunks that you don't want to be good at, you're wasting some time, but I'll counter that with jump balance. So even though you do have goals, and so for me, I really want to be good off the standing, off vertical, and just going up and dunking. That's one of my goals, but I can highly benefit from doing every other type of dunk. And so there's 4 main plants. There's off the left leg, off the right leg, and you have 2 leg plants, which is left right or right left. I gotta sneeze. Bless me. Anywho, if you jump off your left every single time we do a dunk session, you'll overdevelop your left quad and underdevelop your right quad. Because think about it, you're jumping off your left leg every single time. So you're gonna wanna have at least some practice in every type of jump. Ideally, you jump the same amount of times for each leg, for each variation, and everything's completely equal. You'll be the most coordinated, you'll be the most balanced muscle-wise and tendon-wise and everything. And so being balanced like that allows you to prevent injuries and to improve overall performance. So even if your goal is only, I really want to be good at the left-footed dunk, practicing all the other moves will help that left-footed dunk, because now you're improving your entire lower body. So even though you only jump off your left leg, what about that right leg pushing into that left leg? If that right leg's stronger, then that will help you jump off that left leg. And it can only be stronger if you're practicing all the other plants, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. So practicing all those plants will bring up all your weaknesses and really highlight everything you need to work on. But as you quickly find out, that's not the most practical thing. That is ideal, but people have fun and then they want to do something and then they get carried away. And so I would just say, generally try to have some jumps in every single jump so that you're not completely uncoordinated in the other jump. All right, so moving forward, we have rest periods. So you're gonna wanna rest at least 30 seconds between every single jump, because if you start jumping and then 15 seconds later you jump again, you're too fatigued and you didn't let your body recover. Setting a little clock, and it can just be dribbling around for a bit and thinking about your next jump, which I really like to do during my rest periods. I like to visualize, think about the next jump I'm doing, and so that when I go into it, I'm fully ready mentally. And so you might feel good after 15 seconds, but again, your body needs more time than you think. And if you try waiting at least 30 seconds between every jump, you'll notice some benefits. Last thing that kind of combines with the post session is, and this is somewhat optional, but you can have a camera and a notepad. So if you set up a camera and record your whole dunk session, then you can watch that dunk session back after the session, and you can see which dunks you landed, which dunks you didn't, and maybe why that is. You know, if you're working on one dunk and one goes in and one doesn't, find what you did differently and keep doing what you did well and stop doing what you did wrong, obviously. And you may think that you're jumping a certain way, but you realize you're not. And the only way you really know is if you record that and watch it. And so you might be dunking or jumping a lot differently than you actually think. And so it's really can be helpful feedback to watch that over. And then obviously if you have a good dunk, you have it on camera, and that doesn't hurt. And then also having a notepad. So every time you do a jump, maybe put a tally, and you can do that in that 30-second rest. And being aware of how many times you jumped off what leg, and this can help ensure some jump balance here, making sure that you're staying equal on all four plants, and then you can take those notes, and then the following day, going into the post session, we'll start with review. You can assess how your body's feeling. So let's say I did 40 jumps, right? And then I review the next day and I feel completely broken down. I'll say, okay, maybe I need to break it down a bit or reduce the number of jumps I did and maybe only do 30 or 25, depending on what your advancement level is. Because if you're sore for 2 days and you're not able to train and keep getting better, then maybe jumping that much is not going to be what's better for you long term. And obviously if you feel too good, if you're not sore at all the next day, then maybe you could add some jumps. Maybe you can have another goal. You can also train. So if you jump for 45 minutes, finish up 15 minutes of a long cool down, do some core work, do some upper body stuff. Obviously you won't be doing a lot of lower body, but you can still get a lot done in that day and keep improving. So another bullet I have here is recovery. So this is important to keep in mind. So you see a lot of famous athletes on Instagram and things like that doing ice baths and stuff, and that can be definitely a good recovery tool, but you're gonna probably want to wait at least 24 hours until after your dunk section. So you want your body to naturally go through the healing process, and if you do a dunk session and then less than 12 hours later you're in a iced bath, your body's not going to naturally do the healing process that it wants to perform, and you're going to get in the way of that. You probably will speed it up, but your body wants to naturally do its recovery process. And then if you need additional help, that's when I would say, after 24 hours, then you could do an ice bath. Maybe you could do some foam rolling, other things like that can always be a great option. But I think that'll wrap up this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, learned something, and comment below any more video ideas, or if you want me to go farther in depth on a dynamic warm-up, or maybe some CNS stuff, or whatever it is, just comment below. But yep, see you next time.
We used to play out in the rain. Your mama scolded us. She said